Hi, well this is Ian R. Crane and I'm outside the Newcastle Crown Court. I was going to have Mark Steele alongside me, but he's been hijacked by the media. There seems to be massive interest now, seeing as Judge Noland has effectively instructed Gateshead Council to address residents' concerns over 5G. Judge Noland gave us some absolutely tremendous quotes today. He made it very clear to Gateshead Council that he was going to uphold democracy, that this is basically democracy in action, and that the last thing that he had any intention of doing was preventing Mark Steele continuing to raise awareness about the dangers associated with 5G. So there is still an injunction in place, but that is simply to prevent Mark from perhaps becoming a little bit too boisterous in his challenge of the elected representatives. So frankly, Gateshead Council did not come out of today particularly well. The chief executive of Gateshead Council, Sheena Ramsey, and I would encourage people to look at the history of Sheena Ramsey, because her performance in court today was highly questionable. Let me just suggest that the veracity of her recollection of events at the council meeting left a lot to be desired. Fortunately, Mark had the video of his presentation to Gateshead Council, which clearly showed that Sheena Ramsey, as chief executive of Gateshead Council, clearly has an inability to recall events as they actually occurred. But Sheena Ramsey, she's on a salary reported to be in excess of £160,000. With benefits, it's probably closer to about £250,000. This whilst the social services and public services in Gateshead are being reduced. In fact, the Gateshead Council budget has been reduced by as much as £800 per household. So it's very clear that Sheena Ramsey is in the role of chief executive of Gateshead Council to effectively destroy public services. So she's done this in Knowsley near Liverpool, where she was paid off with a £330,000 redundancy payment, and prior to that she was at Worcester City Council. Now call it a hunch, but I think there is a very distinct possibility that Sheena Ramsey is a graduate of Common Purpose, and as we well know, the purpose behind the Common Purpose agenda is to undermine civil services and civil support right across the country. So unfortunately, it looks like Mark is still in the grip of the media, who rightly so are seeking to report on this case, because if Gateshead Council had got their injunction, it would have effectively prevented Mark from raising his concerns. Whilst Mark is a little disappointed that he didn't get the opportunity to present his full bundle of evidence in open court, over lunch it was very, very clear that the judge went through Mark's bundle and actually acknowledged that Mark's witness statement and his skeleton argument was supported by very, very credible scientific documentation, which the counsel for Gateshead Council had tried to dismiss as pseudo-science. I have to say that the general consensus amongst the packed public gallery is that the judge was absolutely on point today. He did the right thing. He upheld democracy. He made it very clear that under no circumstances was he going to put any injunction in place which effectively gagged Mark or anybody else. So, of course, it's a bit windy this afternoon down on the quayside of Newcastle, and what's occurring right now? Mark, yes, we're live.
Talene Cream, we love them.
So hey, listen, come up close. It's a bit windy here. So I know you're feeling sort of quite elated at the moment.
Just a bit.
How do you think today went?
Well, what we saw today was democracy and the rule of law in this country being upheld. And I know a lot of people are disenfranchised by the legal system. What we saw today was a police officer tell the truth and a judge, absolutely fantastic. The judge was great. He was measured. Everything he said, we listened to. I mean, like I said, this is why this country is great, because we still have the rule of law. The Save Us Now party is all about the rule of law. What's absolutely appalling is the behaviour of councillors in the Gateshead area. Every single councillor in that borough has had documentary scientific evidence from me. We've had councillors say it's nonsensical. They've got no right to say this is nonsensical. This is published peer-reviewed science from Harvard University, the World Health Organization, from a number of Trent University, etc.,
Exeter
University. They've had all of the documentary evidence to show that this technology is not safe, and they have ignored it. And I believe they have been gagged. Now that would be a very, very, very serious allegation. However, the video evidence of Jonathan Wallace shows that there's something extremely untoward going on at Gateshead Council, and you've got executives paying themselves what I call gagging salaries, where they're paid that much money. It's don't say anything, just keep your mouth, keep your head down, and you'll get your salary, and that's fine. We've got to stop this. We've seen an absolute a judge today with honour, and that's what this, let's not kid ourselves. A lot of people get rubbed up by the legal system in the wrong way. What we've seen today is the rule of law, absolutely, and a judge, absolutely fantastic. I mean, he got a round of applause from the very, very many concerned citizens in Gateshead, the victims from this technology, the people who are ill, the people who are bleeding from the nose. A guy who lost his wife just 3 months ago. She died of a brain tumour, right? Collapsed at a party, died of a brain tumour, and died in an inexplicable way. That chap's just died himself. His witness statement is actually in the bundle, and he's died himself. And this is absolutely shocking and horrendous.
So just before you came on, I was explaining that Sheena Ramsey, the Gateshead chief executive, earning in excess of £160,000 a year, but kicked out of Knowlesy Council with a payment of £330,000. But she was basically way out of her depth today, and Jill Green, the mayor, clearly is not fit for purpose. And this should be it should get a massive community response from the residents of Gateshead, because basically the judge instructed Gateshead Council to address the residents' concerns over 5G. So we're over the next few weeks, of course. The campaign is going to ramp up, and we'll see whether Gateshead, and of course many other councils around the country, whether they actually do tell the truth about 5G, they do acknowledge the research that's out there, or they just do what Gateshead Council tried to do, which is gag campaigners who are asking the hard questions.
I just want one last thing in. Every single councillor in Gateshead have had enough documentary scientific evidence from me. Every single one. I haven't had one reply, not one. And that shows us something very, very untoward, which I'm sure the judge recognised today in the summing up of the case.
Okay, great stuff, Mark. So we're going to head out from Newcastle. Of course, going on right now in London is the injunction hearing to stop quadrilla fracking at Preston New Road. So let's hope that whomever the judge is hearing that case is on the same page as Justice Nolan here in Newcastle. So thanks everybody.
We love you, Ian. We love you, Ian.
And I'll be back with a live stream and more updates tomorrow at 8:30 from somewhere in Middle England. Take care.
Cheers, Ian. Keep up the great work.